Were we supposed to go that way?
Whoa. Is there a wave?
Sorry.
So I get the purple chair, you guys get the couch.
I'll probably never speak in front of this amount of people ever again for the rest of my life. Erin might, but I won't. So I'm just gonna say hi. Say move the dial, hi.
Sara is a mother, but lives like she's a millennial.
Yes, I like you, yes. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you didn't pan all the way over here.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, well, because,
Right.
wait, please. You guys, my imposter syndrome is epically high right now.
I actually feel like
I need to get it out there.
I feel like I belong here.
So game face, 1, 2, 3, and game face.
Oh, game
Okay,
face.
game face.
We don't
Game
have
face.
a game face.
Welcome, Erin Sara Foster, to the Move the Dial stage.
Thank you.
Thank you. How great was Bose? I'm obsessed with her.
Me too.
She is the coolest.
Sarah, Kris is running the interview. If you could just let
Right?
her.
We could switch chairs. Do you want to switch chairs?
No.
Let her speak.
I'm going to start by giving you, I know we did an introduction, but I'm going to start by giving you your titles, as if you don't know already.
Great.
Just to give the audience an idea of what you guys do. And I think it's almost like the consummate resume for today's working person, hustling, trying to get it done, right? So show creators, producers, investors, writers, actors, creative heads at Bumble, which is a $1 billion company founded by a woman.
Yep.
Huge social media presence, and then only because there is a Canadian connection, daughters to the superstar music producer David Foster.
She has her Canadian passport. She's Canadian.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's true. You never know when you're gonna need to run away.
There
and
you
go
go.
north.
We might be moving here a
Yeah?
lot sooner than
Well,
expected.
you don't have a
You're not the
passport.
only one.
You are just American. I
I am.
Canadian.
But
So
I'm
I'll be running alone.
Take me with you.
Did I miss anything? Do you want to
It's
add
so
anything?
interesting because when you list off all those things, I hear you and I go, oh shit, we have done something, you know? But I tell myself all the time, you're not doing enough. You don't belong. You're lazy. You don't wake up early enough. You go to bed too early. I tell myself this all the time, and then I hear you say that, and I go, oh, okay,
We're doing enough.
We're
Yeah,
doing
you're
okay.
good. It helps
We're
to have
doing
somebody
okay.
else say it.
Well, you're also a mom. That also is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to prep for this conversation, in the spirit of Move the Dial, I wanted to find like a really genuine connection point to your story. And I have to say that it's your sense of humor. Because very few things give me belly laughter. And there's something about your voice and your banter, I don't know if it's because I have a sister, that gives me that belly laughter. And on the plane from San Francisco on the way here, I was one of those crazy people in my seat laughing out loud because I was listening to your Second Life podcast.
Oh, good.
Right?
Oh, just the Second Life podcast. It made you laugh.
It made me laugh so hard. I was
we
crying
were really
in my
scared
seat.
that this was going to be like very serious
Yeah.
and that we weren't allowed to be ourselves. And then somebody right before we went on was like, you know you can be yourself. And we're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, but it goes back to imposter syndrome. Here we are, we're speaking at, this is a tech conference. We are speaking about tech and we go like, wait, do we have to be someone else? No, we were hired as the creative directors at Bumble for a reason. And when we were asked to do it, I think my instinct at least was like, absolutely not. I'm a comedian, I'm an actress, I'm not qualified, I don't deserve that. But we said yes. And now it's brought us here 3 years later and we're speaking here and it's, yeah.
And it probably doesn't help that I have a notebook. I should probably just toss
It's a
that out.
really intense
notebook.
Yeah.
So let's start with
Comedy.
comedy? Or
No, she decides
let's
what we start with.
No, but I interrupted her. She was saying
Well, let's see what she was going to say.
that you guys made me laugh. And so I think you guys are really funny, and I think, well, you can already tell that you're up for a really fun conversation.
Sorry, guys. We just
That's
never
it.
stop fighting, you know?
We should switch seats. Do you want to sit in the purple chair?
Definitely not.
So Bumble, creative heads at Bumble, what does that mean? And you guys also just inked a major deal with 20th Century Fox to do some cool shows.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
We have an overall deal with, now it's Disney owns 20th Century Fox. So it really, it pretty much just means they want to develop TV shows with us potentially for us to write, us to produce, us to star in, us to not star in at all, and write and produce for other people or produce other writers. So it's actually a great opportunity. We had a group of girls DM us on Instagram saying, we have a script we want you to read, we want to make a show, and we set up a meeting with them. So we want to help other female content creators have shows and get shows on the air that we're in, but also that other people are in.
But really, it was the comedy that got us to Bumble. The way that we got to Bumble was Whitney Wolfe Herd, who is the most badass CEO I have personally ever met in my life, was a fan of our television show and followed us on social media and thought to herself, I'd love for these girls to come speak to my employees in New York, and as well as a handful of girls that will get off the app. We'll have margaritas, we'll sit around.
I think I had 3 glasses
Erin
of
had
rosé.
That's
16
the only way to write
margaritas.
shows.
I was full drunk when I
Yeah.
did that panel with Whitney.
Yeah.
But you know what? Got me
Worked
a
for
job.
you.
You guys, it got me a job. Sometimes you're your best self when you're a little buzzed.
Yeah.
But that's how we.
That's not like a life lesson. It's just an anecdote. Doesn't mean you have to drink to get a job.
You guys, her advice: don't listen to anything she says.
Well, I'm on the stage, so being drunk can work.
So you're okay, good. I wish I got the memo.
But yes,
Saying, sometimes it brings out the best in you.
Okay.
Yeah. I love how you're trying to like bring it back to serious again.
I know.
This is, by the way, that what was making me laugh was how serious you guys seem about things that are ridiculous. Like you take it very seriously because that's what Barely Famous is all about, right?
Yes, it's all about, listen, I think our the theme of our comedy is hypocrisy. I was just gonna say that, sorry. Hypocrisy. And I think that when you, I don't know what it's like in Toronto, but in LA, you see a lot of it. And you see a lot of people who are portraying one thing and doing another. And a lot of people who have so many charitable passions and they really aren't doing shit. And you see a lot of people who pretend like they don't want to be famous, but they're hiring paparazzi to follow them around. So we wanted to make a show.
Does that happen in Toronto? Because it happens a lot in LA. Are
A
people
little bit more
hiring-
subdued. Everything's a little bit much more subdued in Toronto.
But the problem with it is that it works
Yeah.
for a lot of people. They do get success out of it, and they do have a platform, and they're not representing anything that someone can relate to because it's not real, even for them. And it's all fabricated. And these people are pretty unhappy because they don't really know who they are. So when we set out to make Barely Famous, we wanted to make a show about 2 girls who said they would never do a reality show, and so they're filming a reality show about that. And that concept to us represented everything in LA that's just kind of phony. And we obviously did grow up around that. And I think when you grow up with privilege and resources and access, you have to take it and use it to your advantage because it can make you lazy and inefficient and someone who doesn't think that they have to do anything. Because at the end of the day, like, you'll have a roof over your head no matter what. And instead of taking that route, we took a different route, which was like, my biggest fear is that someone's gonna think I'm an entitled, spoiled, lazy person and make a show about that girl. Just embrace it and put it into a TV show and create something out of it and be in control of the joke instead of the butt of the joke.
And that's what I'm really curious about where that drive comes from, because every interview I listen to that you guys have done, you're almost very purposeful about making sure that you prove people wrong about, like, are we just entitled, privileged, white women who are trying to not, just kind of make our way into the world. And you guys talk a lot about training and talk a lot about doing the hard work to get, to where you are. So where does that drive come from when you are growing up around so much privilege?
I mean, listen, we cannot help the fact that we're white. It's not our fault. And we can't help the fact that we grew up privileged.
Yeah.
Wasn't our choice, but it was nice. Yeah. And so you have to go into the world with that perspective and say, like, what's my purpose? What's my messaging? I'm not gonna pretend like I'm somebody else because I am who I am. And it comes with its own set of challenges. And you just have to try to control the narrative. Everybody walks into any room thinking, oh God, everyone's gonna find out that I'm this. Yeah. Everyone's gonna know that I'm secretly that. And so instead of me being afraid that you're gonna find out that I never went to college because I basically failed out of the 10th grade, I'm just gonna let you know here on the stage that that's what happened. Yeah. So I now control that instead of me living in fear that you're gonna find that out. Yeah. You just have to take the thing that you are and embrace it.
And Sara got straight A's in school.
I got straight
She
A's.
honestly
But
did.
listen, at the end of the day, yes, doors can definitely open for you if you are from a certain family, or if your husband is somebody, or your wife is somebody, or your friend is somebody. But what you do when you walk in the door is all on you. When we walk into Disney and we pitch an idea for a television show that she is writing and I am producing, no one gives a shit that your dad wrote some Whitney Houston songs.
That's true.
They don't care. Like, it's cool and it's great. And there's no, I can't stand people who resist, and we talk about this all the time. It would be untrue to sit here and say that we did not grow up privileged. We did. And there are so many people who tell a different story about themselves when we knew who they grew up. So we are grateful. But truly, what you do when you walk in that door, it's all on you.
Yeah, you have to make your life what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
And you just always had that spark, because you've talked about how you grew up around people who didn't have that hunger.
Well, we didn't always. I mean, to be clear,
Yeah.
we grew up with a mother and father who made it very clear, like, I am successful, you are not. Like, that was...
Actually, I think our dad said, I'm rich, you're
yes,
not rich.
I didn't want to say rich, because that sounded snobby.
But that is kinda how
But
he
he would
phrased
say
it.
that. He would say, I am rich, you are very poor, the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
You do not fly where I'm flying. You are in the last row. You will go to college. If you don't go to college, you will get nothing from me. You have got to have a job. I mean, we didn't grow up thinking that we were coming into some sort of trust fund. There is no trust fund.
That's pretty harsh for a guy who
our
does all
dad's
these
been
love
married
songs.
5 times.
Yeah.
So the truth is,
Yeah.
a lot of his ex-wives have our trust fund.
Actually,
Which honestly, I'm pissed about. I have 10
That's-
jobs, you guys. It's my daughter's birthday. I'm very happy to be here, but it's my daughter's birthday. It's her 9th birthday, and I'm here. I'm working. I'm trying to make a name for myself, and I don't have a fucking trust fund. Sometimes I would like one.
But you guys talk a lot about how that's made you into who you are, right?
Yes, of
So can you
course.
take me through a bit of your career journey as you were trying to get your footing?
Yeah.
Trying to get what you want in your 20s and 30s, and how that worked out. I know I listened to a story where you were kind of living in the, since we're swearing anyway, in the shitty
I shouldn't have
apartment,
sworn.
right?
I'm comfortable that I just did that.
And you kind of refused, and I thought that was so amazing that you refused to leave that apartment.
The shithole, that's what you wanted to say.
Exactly. And until you
Erin
could,
tells everyone there were bars on the window. This stop, but there
that's
really
your
were bars
origin
on the
story.
window.
Yeah.
the story is just that I was living in an apartment in my 20s, and it was not great. My neighbor got mugged at gunpoint outside our front door, and there was bars on the windows, and none of my friends would go there. And my dad got fed up and was like, okay, you've proven your point. You want to work hard. I get it. I'm going to move you to somewhere nicer in Santa Monica. I don't want you to die. And I went to this apartment he was going to buy me or rent for me. And I was 26, I think, at the time. And the apartment was beautiful. It was on the ocean, way better than where I was living. There was like a doorman building. And I obviously would rather live there. But I just thought, if I say yes to this, I'm going to feel bad about myself. I just know I am. And I'm not going to feel that like fight to get out of the shitty apartment. And so I just thought, no, I'm not going to say yes. I said no. I went back to the death box that I lived in. And I was like, I'm gonna move out when I sell my first show. That's when I'll move out. And so I did. And it took me until I was 29 years old. And I was really ashamed at that point that I was 29 and I wasn't where I wanted to be, because this age, like 30 is this, I think we all know this, right? Like 30 feels like, okay, things are getting real. I'm an adult. And I kind of had an idea in my mind of where I'd be at this point. And I used to always think at 30, married, kids, don't ever see myself in a club again, don't get embarrassingly drunk, have a phenomenal job, making a lot of money. Like, none of those things were true. I was definitely still going to clubs. So I think there's just this like struggle with self-esteem, because you have this pressure on yourself. And sometimes that pressure is good, because it forces you to face the things that are really hard. And like, working is hard. Sarah's here instead of with her daughter on her 9th birthday, and we're gonna have birthdays every year, of course, but like to a 9-year-old, when your parents aren't there, it feels bad to the mom. And so,
But I'm grateful for it, I'm really grateful for it. We talk about...
Sarah doesn't care.
Sorry, I'm not... Did I... Sarah what?
Sarah doesn't care.
No, I care, but I pinch myself all the time that I'm in this position, you know, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Erin and I grew up with a mother who, let me just say, being a stay-at-home single mother, I think, is the hardest job in the world. When I am with my kids, I am like pulling my hair out, I am exhausted, it's like laundry, it's cleaning, they're fighting, they're attacking each other. I mean, it is like nonstop. When I go to work, I'm like, this is heaven. I'm drinking coffee. I'm speaking to other adults. I don't have like food spilled on my clothes. It's incredible. But we grew up with a single mom. I loved my mother so much, but I never wanted to be like her. And that sounds negative, because now having my own children, I look back at what she did, and I'm in awe, really in awe of that she gave up her life to raise her kids. She never missed a soccer game, she never, whatever. But I never looked at my mom and said, Mom, I want to be just like you. And I don't know why I didn't, because I loved her. She was perfect. She was the perfect mom. But my 8-year-old, she's now 9 today, she says to me all the time, Mom, I want to be just like you. And I'm missing important things in her life. I am not there every morning. I don't put her to bed every night. But she sees that I'm running so many businesses at once, and I'm asking questions, and I'm trying to get smarter, and I'm learning every day. And she sees that, and she says she wants to be like me. And so I'm grateful to be sitting on this stage. It's her birthday. She'll get over it. I'm talking to all of you.
We can get the audience to sing happy birthday,
Oh,
and that'll be our
nice.
day.
Moves the dial. I mean, are you kidding? Like, she's proud of me. I think.
I mean,
She'll come around. Eventually, she'll be proud of you.
after all the therapy, she'll be fine.
Yeah. Does she have a sister? Do you have a?
Yes, I have a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old daughter.
So it
Two
must be
daughters.
nice for them to see this banter, because I mean, how did you guys get to this? Because this is a bit of a dream to be able to work with your sister.
Yes,
and by dream, I mean that it's not a dream, but that you kind of can tell her to like stop talking, don't bother
By
me.
dream, you mean nightmare.
Well, we talk about it all the time. We're sisters and we're partners in everything. We're the heads of creative at Bumble together. Our production deal is together. Our clothing line is together. We have literally everything. I mean, Erin is a writer. I am not a writer, so she's writing a television show right now, but I'm producing it, and I will also star in it.
She will not let me go.
I will
It's
not
crazy.
let her go. But we talk about it all the time, because in a normal co-working environment, you have to hold your tongue. You cannot say everything on your mind, or you will create major conflict in the workplace. But when it is your sister, you say it all. You say everything. And we have to remind each other to be a little bit more sensitive, because nothing is off limits. And that does create conflict, but at the same time, it's a dream to be able to
But
be
like any working relationship, it
Yes.
just takes a lot of work to, be cohesively and moving the right direction and not killing each other.
Yeah. You guys are doing great right now.
Well, we're
Spooky
faking.
now.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're in a great, well, listen, we're in a great place. After the first season of our television show, we had to really come together and decide if we were going to continue to do this. We had blowout fights on set where the crew would be like, oh God, these girls are crazy. Like, it was truly, it was tough. And we had to really check in and go to places that we didn't ever want to go to. We had to communicate in ways that we never had in order to sort of come out the other side.
We got there.
We got there.
And I want to pivot a little bit and get some advice from you, because there's so many in the audience who are entrepreneurs, trying to get that next promotion, trying to launch a big idea. So I want to get some power advice from you guys.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
There you
Fake
go.
it till you make it.
I want to ask you how to sell an idea, because I loved hearing you tell the story of Barely Famous and how it was sort of in your head that it was going to be this fictional show about a reality show, and trying to explain it to Sara, and she's like, I don't get it. I don't know what
get it
this
at all. I
is.
was like, that's a terrible idea.
And turned out to be a really successful show. So how do you get somebody to believe in an idea that only you believe in, that only makes sense in your head?
I think it's not simple. It's not easy, but I think it's simple. And I think that that's being really honest. Because the truth is, if you watch like Shark Tank, if somebody comes in there and they're doing like a spiel, you're kind of like, no, I'm not buying this. But if someone comes in and says, I had a genuine problem and then I solved that problem and I believe other people will have the same problem, it resonates with you. I really believe that the same way that you can walk into a room and be like, oh my God, I think I just fell in love with this person, is the same feeling you can get when you're like, oh, that person's lying to me, or they're being fake, or I don't believe that they believe in this thing as much. And so I think being authentic and genuine, which I understand sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's very true that people feel when you are being inauthentic, and people feel when you're being fake, or you're trying to be cool, or you're trying to say something that person wants to hear instead of something that's really meaningful to you. Even like before we came on this stage, someone said, okay, you have to think about what your power advice is. And I was like, oh God, I really want to think of something smart and something that like is powerful. And Sarah and I are like Googling like what other people have said it before. And I texted my fiance now and I was like, what's my power advice? And he was like, I mean, it's the thing you always say, which is your superpower is being honest. And I just thought, oh, instead of saying the thing I think people want to hear, I should say the thing that's just true for me, which is that for me personally, being really honest and very true to myself has served me very well. And earlier in my life, when I was in my 20s, people used to say, Erin, you can't say that. You can't do that. You can't be the way you're being. And I started going, oh shit, maybe I can't. And then when I realized like, yes, I can be myself. Because that's true for me. I overshare, I tell personal information to strangers, and I found a way to make a career out of it.
She will meet someone and she'll say, hi, I'm Erin Foster, I got a nose job. Like, Erin,
if they tell me I'm pretty.
asking you about, no one's asking you. But honestly, the honesty is great. I wish more people would be honest.
The lesson is that everybody has a thing in them that they think is their biggest flaw, but actually can be your biggest asset. If you harness it and you use it the right way. So an idea doesn't matter if it isn't presented with a person that actually believes in it. And I think that's the trick.
And speaking to that, you know, what I do like about this, you know, day that we're living in, which isn't pretty, right? 2019 has been a bit stressful.
It's not my favorite year.
It's a bit dark.
Certainly in America, we're not doing great. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Exactly. But at least, you know, we're starting to kind of get comfortable with failures. And you know, as you were saying that, and you know, like being honest, it's kind of like even for me, just made my shoulders go. Yeah, let's take a breath.
Isn't it such a relief?
What is that amazing quote? I'm going to get it wrong, but success is going from failure to failure with the exact same enthusiasm. I told you she Googled things before. No, that one I actually knew, but it's so true. I would not be in the position I'm in without all my failures. My entire 20s were an absolute failure. Like truly, I look back on my 20s and I go, oh my God, like I wasted a decade. I wasted a decade not doing what I loved, not really finding what my passion was, not living my truth at all. I'm not going to bore you with it, but I was an actress for hire. I was in a ton of terrible movies. I was on different terrible television shows, and I was grateful. I was grateful to have it. Are you nodding? Like,
yes. I was confirming.
Unbelievable. I'm like pouring my heart out. I'm just like, yeah, they were really bad.
I remember that one. That one was really bad.
I'm listening.
But truly, it wasn't until my 30s that I found my truth, and that is creating content. And creating content, whether it be for television shows that we write and produce and creating content for brands, creating content for different tech companies that we're involved with, and I figured it out. Like, that's what I'm good at. And I didn't know I was good at that in my 20s. And I certainly would have never had the confidence to invest. We're now investing. I would be in a room and I would hear people and I would never want to speak up. I would have like burning questions in me that were probably smart questions, but I was so terrified that if I asked this question, they're gonna figure me out, or they're gonna think I'm dumb, or they're gonna whatever. And all I have learned is asking questions is power. Putting yourself out there is power. Making the first move, it is power. And it's changed my life in my 30s.
You know, at the same time, though, and we've spent a lot of time talking about failures and being vulnerable, which is great, but at the same time, you know, going back to how we started this conversation, you guys have accomplished a lot, right? And it's something not to be diminished, especially considering that you guys talk a lot about doing the work and doing the training. I remember, you know, I listened to a story that you told, Sarah, where when you first started acting and you were trying to wing it, and then finally somebody told you, like, this is a craft. This is something that you should be training to do and practicing. So what is it about your work ethic that you guys are most proud of? Like, how do you make this work?
I mean, if you don't work for a company and have a boss that is waiting with a deadline for you, it's very challenging to not just like go get coffee with your girlfriend and not work that day. It's very easy to look at an email and be like, yeah, I really just don't want to deal with that right now. Because I feel like that all the time. I think that the thing I'm most proud of, and if everyone in here is in some way or another an entrepreneur and starting something of their own or thinking about it, the hardest thing about doing it is doing it. Is getting up and sitting in front of your computer and treating it like you do have someone with a deadline. Because the truth is, and Sarah was gonna talk about this, but I'll take it from her, is that...
What are you about to take from me? You're not about to take my advice. Erin, you already gave your advice. You better think long and hard before you do that.
Is that no one is waiting
Oh, wow.
to...
You're gonna do it. Unbelievable.
Well, we have 6 seconds left, so I feel like I gotta take this
okay.
one. The point is that no one is waiting to make your life happen for you. Like, you really are in charge. And so you have to just get up and choose to do it. And the truth is, it's like anything. It's like making a bad phone call that you don't want to have to make. Like, you should always make the worst phone call first to get it over with, because the anxiety about doing things is so much worse than actually doing them.
My 20s were about waiting for the phone to ring. My entire 20s were literally sitting around and just thinking that someone's gonna wake up and think, how can I make Sarah's day better? How can I make her successful? And nobody is going to bed, not even your spouse, your best friend, nobody is going to bed and waking up with that thought of how they can make your life better and your life more successful. And I didn't realize that in my 20s at all.
Yes,
Right, waiting to be picked, that idea. I'm sure everybody here has felt that, where I'm just gonna be really good at what I do and somebody's gonna see and read my mind and
just have to
make
be
me successful.
proactive. By the way, even if you do have a boss with a deadline, you should pivot and surprise that boss and do something different that's unexpected and be proactive. That's how you move up. You don't move up in the world by doing exactly what people expect from you. You move up in the world by surprising people and saying, I know you asked me to do this one thing, I did it, don't worry, but I also did this other thing that I think is better. And then you change somebody's mind.
But I think that's also what excited us so much about working with Bumble Biz, is we are now living in a time where just because at 28 years old you're an interior designer, it does not mean that you always have to be an interior designer. You can go, you know what? I hate being an interior designer. I've done it for 10 years. I actually don't really like it. This is what I actually like. But how do I get going? I don't have any friends that have that same interest. I don't really have a business partner. You can now go on apps like Bumble Biz, and yes, we work for the company, but truly, you can go on an app and you can find like-minded women or men that have the same interest in you. We were at a mixer here in Toronto recently where we met a woman, and she was a lawyer or she was something, and she's like, all I want to do is write children's books. It's all I want to do. I don't know how to start it. I think this is what it was. And then we met another woman right after who was like, I'm really interested in sort of writing children's books. And Erin and I were like, wait, hold on. She just said that, you just said that, you two need to meet, and now they're doing something together. I mean, that's what's so exciting. Erin and I were actresses, and now we're in this new space in our 30s, and it's possible for everyone in this room.
There's the music, and I wanted to get into your
very
social
like
media
Oscars,
accounts.
when you get, like,
it's probably
taken
the
off
only
the
time I'll ever
stage.
hear the music. Thank you so much for the
you guys for having
conversation.
us.
It was so easy. Thank you, Erin and Sara Foster. And then it's Jody. Jody's gonna take us away.